your guest hosts for today. So yeah, thanks, Jordan. I appreciate it. So thanks for joining us. So I wanted to start off with something a little different that we have since I've been here. I would love if you ever hear about sources of energy, and one of the highest sources of energy is gratitude. So I would just love to start off with something you're grateful for, a win you've had in the week that we can celebrate. Yeah.
I guess I would just like to say that I'm grateful for the people in here. Because just Mark, I'm crazy busy with my handyman stuff right now. Just because of referrals from in here, people at their listings, buyers, their own homes, all of that. Kept me nice and busy. Plus, it's an extra stream of income for me. So I really appreciate you guys.
We do the wins in our group meeting as well. So I'm gonna use another same win. 25 years anniversary. Married to my. So I don't know how she does it because I have zero romantic bones in my body. Lots of proof.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Anybody else have a win or something they're grateful for this week?
Isaac is leaving. I was just going to compliment him. So just stay there for 1 second, whether you're romantic or not. I'm just going to give you a lot of oh boys. Isaac is a very honored, and those of you who don't know him, even if you do, he's going to give us a presentation today. So lucky us. Good guy.
Anybody else?
Just grateful for the business that I have, and I need to go into details, but like something might work out better than I thought it would on a deal that I thought was going to fall apart. So yay!
Yeah, and all that business is definitely hard work because I can hear you on the other side of my wall while you're making calls, and so it's great to hear the lead generation going on. Anybody else? All right.
After several months of sucking wind, I finally have closing scheduled next month.
Anna. All right. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, Mark. Thank you. Mark's providing us lunch today. So thank you very much for that. And he's got some handouts here as well. We use Nick's fancy Backstreet Boys microphone, so we're just going with this one.
Thank you. Not a lot today, everyone. I've been getting a lot of questions on, well, let me ask, first of all, anything keeping you up late at night, mortgage wise, that I can answer for you, other than interest rates. So yeah, that's kind of what my topic was for today. I keep getting questions. Hey, Mark, what's going on with rates? Why are they not going down? Right. They were supposed to be down a year ago. All we heard was rates are coming down. The Fed's going to drop rates 6 times, and we're going to all celebrate lower interest rates, and that hasn't happened, has it? The rates have actually gone up. I get that question a lot too. What are rates, Mark? Well, that depends upon, MHFA conventional, is going to be 7 7/8. You do a home ready, home possible, we could probably still find something, at 6.875, first time home buyer, under the, the home ready, guidelines. So, I always get it. What are rates? So, what I send out, what some of you get via email is just kind of industry averages, meant to kind of give you a gauge on whether rates are going up or rates are. So, right now, people said, well, hey, what's going on? Maybe for the newer people, a lot of us kind of know what dictates interest rates, what causes interest rates to go up and what causes them to go down, but not everybody does, right? Some of the people that have been in business a long time, they know, obviously it's a lot of inflation and it's a lot of the job numbers, right? It's inflation has just been sticky, it's been hanging around. The Fed really thought when all this 6 drops were going to happen this year, they thought inflation would be better, right? They thought maybe we'd get some job losses. No, they were even talking about a possible recession, which is always good news for interest rates. It's not good news if you lose your job, obviously, but it is good news for interest rates. So inflation is sticky, and also job reports have been really good. You know, March 8th, I think it was. They were predicting job report to be about 200,000, came in about 275. Lots of jobs, lots of people working, people have money. You know, that's back to the inflation problem, right? So, you know, what I challenge people, or, you know, I'm here for, you know, if you want to be able to have that kind of conversation with your customers, what's going on with interest rates, what's going on with the market, it's all tied together. Everyone, stock market, bond market, interest rate market, it's all tied together. You know, I mean, I know it gets boring, interest rates, you know, market, blah, 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 but it's all tied together. Stocks, bonds, interest rates, long-term rates, what's going on with the Fed. You know, now they're saying the Fed might not drop at all this year. You know, we were 6 times when the year started. You know, now we may not get a drop at all, right? I even listened to a guy this morning on CNBC that say they might get a rate increase. No, wow, you know, increase after 6 drops. Rates are coming down. Rates are coming down. You know, date the rate, marry the house, blah blah blah. Right? I mean, I guess my message today is, if you want to understand market better, you want to sit down. We don't have to do a super deep dive, but if you want to be able to have a conversation with people who want to know what's going on, you know, the more you know, the more I think you don't know where rates are going to go. People who know where rates are going to go, I might question, you know, how they know that. I'm not sure that Jerome Powell, the Fed chief right now, knows where rates are going to go. I know he knows where he hopes they're going to go. He will raise or lower rates depending upon the numbers. Everyone says election year rates are going to be lower. True statement, you know, historically, but in theory, it's not supposed to be that way. And so far, that hasn't rung true, that rates have come down. So anyway, if you want to have a longer conversation on how to explain, how to talk to your customers, I'm here. We'll sit down. We can do a deep dive. You can talk about, you know, what drives rates, what's going on with the market. It's something you almost have to do every day. You have to, yeah, I wake up to CNBC every morning and I listen to it. What's going on? You know, what's going on? You know, what's happening today? Is the stock market going up? Is it going down? Why? Is the interest rate market going up, going down, and why? And, you know, obviously there's bigger days than others with CPI, you know, consumer price indexes and PPIs and the PCE, you know, consumption expenditures that are going to cause rates to go up or down. Unemployment, there's bigger days than others, but if you want to know what those are and be able to have those kind of conversations for that buyer who really wants that conversation, let me know. We'll dive into it. I handed out a bunch of flyers. Again, I always talk to you guys about, you know, we're owned by Royal Credit Union Lake Area Bank. We operate separately from the credit union, but we have a lot of portfolio stuff. We have, you know, different, you know, loans, you know, whether it's an ITIN number, whether it's a 0 down 10-1 arm, you know, if it's a loan that we like, it's our money, you know, we might lend on it. Maybe it's a non-warrantable condo situation, or, you know, if you look at a deal that you can't get done and you say, God, it's a good deal, you know, we might have a home, you know, and that's going to be under our portfolio stuff. So, you know, there's information on our grants, why work with us. I talk about this a lot too. We're locally based. Our underwriters are here. Our closers are here. We're 2 miles down the road in Arden, Minnesota. So everybody's located under one roof. I love it. You know, I can sit down and talk to my underwriters about a deal. You know, that you know, we just need to work through. It's a bit tougher. So heads up on that. You know, just you can look at the flyers. I'd love to sit down with you. I just put them together for you so you can kind of see. And we have more than just what's on this too.
If you follow the opinion of Lawrence Yun, who's the chief economist.
Not close enough to know what he's what are his thoughts?
And I don't. You know, he's a high profile guy in our association that's pretty outspoken. I just need to raise what I would go. Does he think raises? I would say he's thinking kind of even rate.
I mean, I have different contacts, different people. I mean, I subscribe to, I think, 3 different services. The so-called experts. I kind of dumped Barry Habib. Barry Habib was kind of my guy. I thought he was great. I thought he knew what was going on. And, everybody kind of jokes a little bit about, no, I shouldn't say everyone. A lot of people joke about May 10th last year for coming down, hold on, baby, rates are coming down. And, Barry was all over that. And he had all the charts, all the numbers, all the, why it was going to happen. That's most people kind of drank the juice and it happened. It didn't happen. And I think that just solidifies that the more you know, the more you understand rates. I don't care how good you are, economist, how many accolades, how many degrees you have. You don't know. You just don't know. I will argue Jerome Powell doesn't know, and he's the Fed chief. He wields the biggest club where rates are going, and he doesn't know where rates are going to go. Decide where they're going to go after he sees the numbers. For sure CPI is going down to 2%. The house rates are going to get better. But I don't know how we know with certainty that we're going to hit that 2% target that the Fed says. I mean, they've been pretty consistent and adamant about we want to hit 2%. And we're at 3.5 now. It was 3.3 the month before, so it's gone the wrong direction, and that hence higher interest rates. So yeah, I know I probably check them out, but a lot of so-called experts that I watch. All right, anybody else? Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Mark. All right, next slide. Is this working? Or is it?
Check.
Check 1, 2. Check.
Speakers are running. They can still hear us on.
Well, we'll just keep using this. It's weird to speak into a microphone when nobody can hear. It's
Okay. Hello, just a couple things. Minnesota Realtors is having a course accredited buyer representative and a certification. It is free, 16 hours CE. It's gonna be in person. I took this one last week and it's a lot of good information, like the old information and the new information put it together. You can sign for that one. That would be awesome. You have free credits and also the course is free. Normally $299 and now it is free. And also they're gonna have this 25th, the role of diversity marketing and real estate. That one is a CE2, but that one is a cost. CE for the Mayo, you can go to Minnesota Realtors. So far, that's what I have. We don't have too much in events. We have a calendar where all the affiliated groups are gonna have and you can get credits. Yep, that's it.
all right. Is this Sean? Is this your turn? Well, now they're working again. So this is fun. Well, Sean's coming up here. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. We are going to do a lunch. We are going to do a lunch tomorrow for Jordan. Her last day is on Monday. So if you'd like to come and join us for lunch, her request was Chipotle. So just give me a heads up. Was that a boo or a woo? Oh, I thought there was, I couldn't tell if it was Chipotle. Yeah, that's definitely a boo. So if you want to join us for lunch, just let me know so I can make sure here. You're not at Chipotle. I'll bring Chipotle in. Yeah. So, all right, Sean, you're
All right, well, I'm going to talk real loud because I'm going to have to click slides back here. So tomorrow, Lynn is doing her weekly forms class. She will be talking about net sheets and multiples. This one will be hybrid. She will be zooming in, but we'll broadcast it here in the training room if anyone wants to join. Our Cinco de Mayo potluck. So Jordan was so kind to put this together before she is stepping away. But we are having this on May 2nd this year, guys. And if you are interested in joining, obviously it's a potluck style. So please scan the QR code up there and let us know which dish you will be bringing. Sorry about the speakers, guys. There's something funky going on. Smarty. So that's on May 2nd from 1 to 3 o'clock. All right, I'm kind of rolling through these quick, but Thursday, May 9th will be our red day. So we have some fun options. Again, this is another wonderful event that we will miss Jordan on that she happily put together. So our list of schedules is going to be kind of unique this year, guys. So our morning session is going to be our County Road C cleanup. I know a few have done that with us in the past. What we're doing is literally going down the stretch from here all the way down to Snelling, down to Walmart and back. That is our highway. If you guys didn't know that, we did adopt that highway. Our lovely ALC did that last year. So we'll start that in the morning, and then the afternoon, we're actually offering 2 options this year. So every other year, I know we did just 1 option at a time, but we are offering a Scholastic book fair at Parkview Elementary. These are both going to be from 12 to 3. We do need 20 to 30 volunteers to help out with that. So please let us know if you're interested in that. Otherwise, the Roseville Arboretum and Nature Center cleanup, we've done that in the past quite a bit, and it's been very popular. So we're bringing.
all right. Everybody get signed
Okay.
up.
AI. So me and Marty have a wonderful class prepared for next Tuesday, April 30th from 1 to 2 o'clock. We might even go a little past that 2 o'clock time. But we are taking a look at all of the current AI tools that exist out there and ways that you can use them to supercharge your business. It's phenomenal, guys, what is out there. There's so many things that you can automate these days, creates creativity wise, description wise, really the sky is the limit. So please join us next week, Tuesday, right here in the training center. We'll probably do hybrid as well. We'll probably broadcast the one over Zoom as well for anyone that can't make it into the market center. But scan that QR code and please join us. I think that's all that I have. Before Isaac starts though, guys, today we do have Paul Miller by Business by Design is coming in to talk about top tax planning strategies for 2024. Please don't leave him hanging. Would love if this room could be filled for him. He's got some great strategies, things to think about to save some money this year. So please join us.
Yeah. So if you don't know Paul or you haven't met him yet, he's the owner of Business by Design. I've had the opportunity to work with them for years now between both of these market centers and have agents that work with them as well. And it's incredible the money that they have saved agents. I could tell you multiple stories where they've saved thousands of dollars by working with Business by Design. So this isn't a sales pitch for him to come here. He's literally just coming to share with you guys some strategies that you can use. And so I highly recommend taking that hour today of your time. Hopefully you've already filed your taxes for 2023, but this will be how to prepare for this upcoming tax season. Or if you haven't yet, he might give you some quick tips to sneak in there. Yes. He's great. Yeah, it is fun when our agents use them because then their accountant will come to us and say, can I get the DA list and the this and the that? And they know all of the things within KW. So it's kind of cool. All right, Isaac, you're up. We're talking all things business plans.
All right. Can hopefully it doesn't blow up when it kicks in. So I'll try to speak loud enough you can hear in the back, right? So I do want to endorse Paul Miller They have a great program there with Business by Design, and I've used it, and it's part of that piece of the leverage, right? If either spend time doing the bookkeeping yourself or the time to do the taxes yourself, or you have somebody else doing it, right? If you're don't have an accountant, you're the accountant. So thank you very much for having me come up here. I was a little surprised and honored to be able to present something around my business model is, or what is a business model and why you should have one. I have lofty goals, right? So those lofty goals, they need a plan, because if you don't have a plan, then those lofty goals will never be achieved. And I say that kind of preface it with this. What is the plan? Okay. I'm not a 3-digit team leader. We're still a double-digit team leader. But I was honored to be able to be asked to do this, because I do know some of you. I do know most of you. You see me as a triple-digit team leader. Our team is going to be doing great things as we work our way up. And so I appreciate that. And I wanted to thank you in advance for that, for allowing me to be able to share something like that. Do we have a clicker? You grab that. Forgot to ask for it. Are you good with just advancing it? All right. So what is the plan? A lot of us got into this business for all different kinds of reasons. Some of us lost a job. Some of us lost a business. Some of us had our education, any different number of things, right? So we all have our why we got into the, and it's important to be able to identify that why, because this business, as many of us know, when it's beating you up, you got to use that why to be able to get through it. If you don't have a plan on what to do that day when you're getting your butt whooped, and you're going to forget about your why, and you're going to forget about what the plan is, and you're going to forget why you got into it in the first place. And then you're going to allow yourself to be one of the, 86% attrition rate? Okay. Or maybe 23, you were one of the 47% of all real estate agents that did not even have more than one transaction. You need to have a why, and then you need to have a plan. So what is the plan? What are you trying to get out of this thing that we did when we went through the process, right? And so now I'm 51. Started this business when I was 45. I was one of your typical real estate agents who, when you look at the profile of the average agent, it's NAR in their mid-40s. They had a job change or a job loss, and they're just trying to figure something out. There's some college or no college. 60% of agents, the average agent, have either no college or some college. I'm the one with no college, right? So I checked off a lot of boxes. I'm no one special in that regard, right? Just check off the box and fit me in. So I'm 51, and I've got this thing now, and I personally want to be able to decide what I'm going to do when I'm 70. So I'm now I got 19 years to finish up this dream, this plan. So when we think about this, it's important to be able to look forward. And what is it that you're going to do with, why are you doing these so that you can accomplish something else, right? If you can imagine with me, we're going to go into La La Land a little bit. When I'm 70, this is how I imagine it's going to be. Nice day out. I'm going to be in my home office. That looks pretty cool. Phone's going to ring. This is how you know I'm a Gen Xer, right? Because This is how I hold a phone. If I was Gen Z or a millennial, it'd be like this. Okay. So I'm a Gen Xer. I get the phone call. I answer. Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing today? Right, I got Grant, my buddy. That's awesome. Sweet. Great. How'd your kid doing that competition we talked about last fall? Hey, sounds about right. You set a good example. Perfect. Oh, okay. We want to do that? It's time? Okay, perfect. That sounds great. When are we doing this? Great. Okay. Got it. All right, I'm gonna have Carlos call you. Yep. Carlos, he's great. You're gonna love him. Great. Perfect. All right. Have a great week. Right. Then I hang up the phone and I turn over and I walk over and I say, hey, babe, you ready to go? We're done for the day. That's my dream. That's how I want it to look when I'm 70, when I'm 72, when I'm 75. Not that that's what it's going to look like, because I don't have it in me to just be done yet. I don't even see that happening. I remember when I was 20 and I saw 51, and that was old as hell. Now that I'm here, it doesn't feel so bad. Okay, so I know that that's going to change. What do I want it to look like with all of these calls that I'm making, all of this stuff that I'm training on, all of these forms that I'm filling out? What do I want it to look like at the end? And for me, that's what it is. And for you, it's going to be something else. But I want you to think about that, because then you can work it backwards. Because in order for me to be able to accomplish that, I have to be able to work that plan backwards. And in this Keller Williams culture, we're always taught about working it backwards. What do we want at the end of the year? And then we work it backwards. How many transactions? And not even how many transactions. What's the dollar amount that we want to end the year with? Because that dollar amount is equivalent to a certain number of transactions, to a certain number of calls, right? And so that's how I imagine that. And that was a huge learning point for me. And that was something that I learned from Gary Keller. I have a lot of Garys in my life. You'll see that here in a minute. But Gary Keller is the one who I learned that from. And he's a mentor for me. He's mentoring me from afar, because we've never actually met. But I learned that this business is a vehicle. That was a new concept for me, because I have no formal business education. I'm making this up. There's nobody, for me, I'm making this up as I go along, right? I have no formal business education, and there's nobody in my immediate family I can lean on to provide me guidance. So, let's see here.
Point it towards the computer over where Sean is.
I can go one more. This one. So I have no clue what I'm doing. I have no clue what I'm doing. So I realized what I needed to do is I needed to surround myself with sources. And so these are the sources that I go back to over and over and over again. Go back to the MREA for the blueprint. The blueprint is this. So if you do this in the book, you read it, and it's a thick book, and and Gary spells it out. He has a knack for being able to put the information out in terms that I can understand. Okay. If you didn't read the whole thing, that's okay. If you read 70% of it, that's okay. If you read 50% of it, that's okay. Just start reading it. If you get to page 20 and you stop and you go on what it's learned, that's better than never having done anything at all. So get started on this book, because it's a blueprint. It tells you that if you do this, this will happen. If you have 12 contacts, that's one deal. If you touch database 36 times a year, this is on the size of your, it's a blueprint. I'm not that smart of a guy. I need instruction, need coaching. So I would come back to that all the time. Shift. Shift I read for the urgency, picking up the urgency. Now, when I first read Shift, I think I made it to the 3rd chapter and I put it down. And I didn't pick it up for like well over a year because I couldn't get past that 3rd chapter without acting, without what I had just learned within those first 3. If you read those 3 chapters, if you read those first 3 chapters, you are behind. You just feel behind. If you're operating and keep this in your business model, that operating from behind, you're going to be consistently doing something, put yourself ahead. So if you stay in that mind, and this is what Shift did to me, is put me in a mindset that I'm always behind. So I don't know who died at the end of Game of Thrones. Who here does? Right? I don't know, because instead of watching Game of Thrones, I was doing something on Facebook. I was engaging on LinkedIn, engaging on Instagram. I was learning how to do videos. If you look at my videos from 5 years ago now, and they're certainly not anywhere near where they need to be. I'm still a long ways off. However, if you look at the videos from 5 years ago to now, they are much, you can understand what I'm saying. You can see that it's actually me and there's not a thumb in the way. But Shift is the one that put me into that mindset of I am behind, so I need to do something now. And I happen to have the cover, happen to have the edition that on the cover, the graph lines says it's not about the market. It's about what you do. So keeping that in mind with the business model, I'm not going to sit here and throw up a bunch of graphs or anything like that, because everybody's business and why you're doing business is a little bit different. This is how I want to share with you how I go about approaching my business model. The one thing is the one I always go back to because it reminds me of that first domino that I need to push in order for the rest of the dominoes to fall. Does everybody know what I'm talking? Who here knows what I'm talking about by a show of hands? 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, don't be afraid. I'm not going to bite. I might call on you, but I'm not going to bite. Those 6 people know what I'm talking about. I encourage you. You do whatever you want to do. It's your life, your business. I'm going to encourage you to pick up that book or pull it up on Audible. We all have those drives to those showings that we're not really interested in doing because it's a 48-minute drive through both downtowns. Okay. So you have the time. I encourage you to listen to it. Or if you don't have Audible or want Audible, YouTube it. It's free on YouTube. There's somebody reading it for you. So I'm giving you reasons to not have excuses. One thing. What's the one thing that I can do today such that everything else is either easier or unnecessary? You don't have to memorize the whole book. Just pull the one piece out. And so that's why I go back to that. I don't know what I'm doing. So I need 7 levels of communication. We're taking that piece right now. This is the book that I've listened to probably 5 or 6 times because it shows me how, it gives me the tools, systems I need on how to conduct business the way I want to conduct business. I love being a connector. Some of you know, you've seen at networking events or at galas or at any other scenario. I love being a connector. So this shows me how to be able to do that and still be able to be successful in business. Okay, I go back to this. The Thank You Economy. This one's by Gary Vaynerchuk. This is another Another gentleman who mentors me from afar. He's my virtual mentor. We've never met, but I actually did get to see him live. And that was fantastic. And what was fun about it was that I already knew what he was going to say because he says the same thing over and over and over and over again. I don't know if you've listened to Gary Vee, but the information that he provides is practical and you can act on it. And it drives you nuts because it's like, oh my gosh, I know I didn't do this today. All he says is just do it. The thank you economy, the reason I keep going back to that is because it helps me and it reminds me what kind of customer experience I want to provide for my clients. The example he uses is this. He goes, we've been so saturated with push marketing. Buy, especially in the 80s and 90s. Buy. And instead, he's talking about having a thank you economy where you are actually interested in your client. He goes back and one example that he uses, he goes, when my grandparents or when your grandparents in 1910, 1920, and they would go to the butcher shop and see old man Johnson at the butcher shop, as soon as Grandpa Contreras walked into the butcher shop, old man Johnson grabbed the and started at 1/2 inch because he already knew that my grandpa wanted his steak, kind of steak, how thick, right? And that was customer service. And we have that opportunity now. As much stuff that we put on our Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of these sources, we have access to our clients in such a way that we can show up with a koozie from the Wild game because we know that in their profile, they're Wild fans. Now, if you had that experience, somebody, do you trust business with that person? Think about that. So I constantly go back to the thank you economy, remember, and to find the little nuggets, the little hacks and tips and strategies, be able to give that experience to my clients. And so the example I used earlier, oh yeah, Grant, how'd your son do in that competition last fall? Now, granted, I'm 70 now, right? Anyway. But having that kind of conversation, having that kind of experience, and your clients are going to want to do business with you. That last one that I have up there is Zig Ziglar. I'm old school. I don't know if you've ever heard of Zig Ziglar. How many here have Zig Ziglar? If you haven't, I encourage you, because one of the things that he talks about, and one of the things that he pushes and for us to understand is that sales is not a bad thing to be. Salesperson is not a bad thing to be. Being a good salesperson, and I've heard this in this room and in other rooms when asked, are you a salesperson? Are you a salesman? I raise my hand, I am. There's a lot of people, even in this room, who will not raise their hand because they don't want to be labeled salesperson. And for good reason, there's a lot of bad connotations out there. However, salesperson is on. You are spending your time and energy and experience to solve problems for people. They've got a problem. It's a housing problem in this business, and we're going to solve it. Mark's up here giving us information to be able to communicate to our clients because our clients have a problem. Raina's here to give us information and be able to communicate to our clients. So you need to have actual salesmanship skill set. You have to recognize when your clients are giving you buying signals, when they're giving you opportunities to close on a sale, and then how to keep that sale going and to do it in an ethical, moral way. So as I'm doing this business model, these are the sources that I'm looking at and constantly referring to in order to ensure that I'm conducting business the way I'd like to conduct business. These businesses are our vehicles. With all of that, then, I learn, I keep continuing, I have these lofty dreams. Right now, the next slide, this is the plan. It's evolved to this. And let me introduce to you who's on here. So we've got Isaac Nelson. We've got Julissa, who is now my business partner. The gentleman with the hair, some of you have met. That's my young. The other guy, right? My other son, Navy. And then the gentleman on the end, Julissa's father. And he's going to be joining the business as well. So what happened is, because I have that 70-year-old version of myself thinking about it, moving things back, I've developed relationships, conducting business in such a way that we now have, it's a family. So this is the plan, and it's expanding on it. Legacy is not one of those words that you just throw out there anymore. It's actually manifesting. Because when you do go through that process of visualizing what the end product is, what the end piece is, and then you declare it, manifests. When you put that information out to the universe, manifests. It's a real thing. I'm evidence of it. I'm a witness to it. Manifest. Okay. Make that part of your business model. Okay. So this is the business plan now. And I created CML Group. CML stands for Creating More Leaders. And my mission, my goal is to identify newer agents that are hungry, humble, and smart. Okay. And then turn them into superstars powered by CML Group. And these agents, and they're agents that are fixed on the relationship and experience that the customer have, lifelong client. And so I educate the agent that if they decide to move on, they are empowered, they are armed with the tools necessary to be able to go on and grow their own business if that's what they choose to have. If their vision of what their 75-year-old self looks like, and then that's what it is. Now, I'm not saying this, I'm not giving you that as a pitch. I give that to you to understand what it is that I'm trying to do. It is that I'm trying to accomplish. The beauty of the business is that I get to choose how I want to run my business. Others are going to look at me and say, well, if you do that, money. Yeah, they're probably right. You're going to say, if you do this, you're going to lose market share. Yeah, probably right. Okay. But I'm okay with that because of what I want to end up with. So I'm telling you this piece of what my plan is because that's how I want to run my business. You take a look at how you want to end up so that way you can run the business the way you want, but you follow some basic stuff that I learned in those sources, because I do have one more source that I want to show you. If you can hold on to that, like this is, the 70-year-old version of myself, the 75-year-old version of myself, this plan, it's part of my dream. And that's what I want to hold on to, because if you have a dream, that matters. That's going to be what you need to hold on to. I think about a story that Les Brown tells us, that he told us. I don't know if you heard Les Brown. I'm dropping these names for a reason. Okay, because I want you to follow up with them. I want you to write it down in your notes. I want you to go listen to these people. And so Les Brown tells us a story about out in the Far East, there's this Chinese bamboo tree. Okay, and some of you have heard about the Chinese bamboo tree. What's unique about the Chinese bamboo tree is that when you plant it, you have to water it and you have to fertilize it for 5 years before it even sprouts through the ground. However, after 5 years, a Chinese bamboo tree grows 90 feet, 5 weeks. So the question is, did it grow 90 feet in 5 weeks or did it grow 90 feet in 5 years? Obviously 5 years. Had you not, or had you skipped any days of watering, any days of fertilizing, it would have stopped dead in its tracks. Now think about that with your vision. Think about that with, I think about that with my plan. Think about that with my dream. I mean, can you imagine being out there in the lawn, watering nothing? Nothing's, you're watering, you're fertilizing, nothing's there. Neighbor comes up. What are you doing? I've seen you out here for 18 months watering this same spot and nothing's happening. I heard the word in the neighborhood that you're trying to grow a Chinese bamboo tree. How's it going? People are going to do that to you. They're going to look at you and say, what are you doing? Stop. Give it up. Do something else. When that sucker breaks through the ground and jumps 90 feet into the air in 5 weeks, suddenly you're an overnight sensation, right? 5 years. Okay? Suddenly you're an overnight sensation. And now they're looking at you like, hey, I knew you could do it. Knew it was in you. You got a job for me? This is what it's going to happen. Okay? So as you're doing this business plan, keep this in mind. I forgot. I did have a visual for the tree. I was kind of proud of myself for this one. Because you got to understand what is the object of your focus and consistency. Can't be just the one, it can't be just a fleeting thought. It doesn't have to be 100 things either. If it's 100 different things you're trying to accomplish all at the same time, you're going to be what is it called? A master of none. Jack of all trades, master of none. Okay, you can be good at some things, excellent at one thing. So as you're thinking about this, the focus, your object of your focus and your consistency. If your goal is to hit X amount of units per day or per year, you got to break that up into a month. And here's the thing too. When you're thinking about that, this blew me away. This one screwed me up really bad. And luckily, I had a coach. You don't have a coach, get a coach. Make that part of your business plan. Plug it into your numbers. Because I had a lofty goal of hitting a few years ago in 2019 was going to be 60 units. I didn't hit it, but I was working on it. And if you break down 60 units for 12 months, right? It's five a month. You got to close 5 a month. And if it's 15 and you've got 3, and that's it. Not only are you behind for January, but you're behind for February. And March, you can't even see. So now you're behind 12. And that messes with you. So my coach said, okay, chill out, right? Because I tend to ramp it up sometimes, believe it or not. You're going to get in June. That had me thinking, well, shit, I'm going to be doing great in June and July because that's the peak of the season. It ramps up. So the 12 that I get in June and July will make up for the 3 or the 4 from January and February. This is where a coach comes into play. Okay, so make sure that as you're working your dream, as you're working your business model, that you have a coach to help you look at that stuff, to help you chill out and say, hey, no, these are the things that you have done. put in place and be able to visualize it. I wasn't looking for a coach. And Matt Brown was my coach at the time. The arrangement, the agreement that we had and the understanding that we had was I wasn't looking for a coach to teach me how to play the game. I knew how to play the game. I'd been in sales for 25 years. I had an LO myself for 4 years. I knew how to play the game. What I was looking for was a specialty coach. Needed somebody to teach me how to be a better quarterback, see the field, things like that. So make sure that you're concentrating on and identifying what is the object of your focus and consistency. So for the next slide, question is, where do I start? This is one of the places where another mentor came into place for me. Be in the top 10% of your profession, because being good is not good enough. So I'm now a NIREP 10 certified trainer. It's the reason why I'm bringing that up, because disciplines, this is number 2. So to be the top 10% of your profession, if you're just starting out and don't know where to go and don't know how many you should have, identify this. Where do I start? What is the top 10% of my profession? Okay. Let's talk about something that we can all kind of agree on, because we all specialize in something different. Some of us are heavy with veterans. Some of us are heavy with foreclosures. Some of us are in the title world, right? Some of us are heavy Latino community, a Spanish speaking client, right? We all have our different specialties that we are attracted to. So I'm going to talk about income, top 10% of income. Who here wants to be in the top 10% income earners in the country? Right? How much is that? Guess? Any other guesses? 400,000? It's $167,000 a year. We want to be in the top 10%. We don't even know what the top 10% is. So make sure that whatever your goal is, however your business model is working, that you're identifying what the top 10% is, whatever it is you're pushing towards. Okay? Because being good is not good enough, and neither is guessing. Guessing is not good enough. So we're all real estate agents, right? Had my average income. How many units is that? So my average income was, or my average volume last year was 318,500. If you come out to about $1,000 GCI, right? So if you're lucky, you're holding on to 4,500. Transactions do I need in order to be able to be in the top 10% income earner in States? Right about 30. Know this. You should. Because you should be able to speak on your numbers. And you should be able to build a business plan from that. Right? Another part of this top 10% of your profession is this. So I asked that to a couple of people in the office, and I asked them, what does it mean to be in the top 10% of your profession? And what they said was, and I asked outside of the office as well, most folks said was, yeah, to be in the top 10 of whatever it is. So for most folks, it's about ranking. You know, I'm in a room of 50 people. How am I the top 5 people, right? I think that there's another part to that. Be in the top 10% of your profession. In the top, I keep pointing, it's back there, sorry. Being on top of your profession. It's also being in the space, the top 10%. Well, if you are in the space of the top 10%, you will learn something. You're within that space of those conversations. You're going to learn. You're going to have lessons. You're going to get experience. You don't need to learn how that fire is hot, not get burned, right? Avoid being burnt. Learn from the others. If you're in a room full of millionaires and you want to be a millionaire, ain't close to that pipeline. You will learn stuff. You'll have the experiences. And the reality is that most millionaires, if they see you doing the work, will share with you everything that they've learned. In that regard, they want to share that stuff. I've never spoken to somebody other than other real estate agents who wanted to wrap their arms around their tricks in the trade and their hacks and their strategies. And that's because of an abundance or a scarcity mentality. Okay. So being in the top 10% of your profession is not only knowing what it is, but also being in the proximity of that, right? And so I go through this exercise. There's a reason why I go through the exercise. The reason I have you go through this exercise and go through this one here is because if you set your sights on a goal, let's just say I want to hit this list. If you set your sights on a goal and work the strategy to achieve that goal, the byproducts having achieved that goal and the benefits from achieving it will allow you to take on the challenge of the market. If you're pushing to be in the top 10%, is going to come. It's going to allow you to do other things, buy rental properties. It's going to allow you to go to higher level trainings and such. Okay. Go to the next one. I'm going to wrap this up here. Where's the business? So we talk about being top 10. We talk about being 30. We're going to ask where's business. These are two pieces of information that I want you to know. In 2022, according to Minnesota Realtors, there's 77,000 sales in the state of Minnesota. Okay, and I love this version that I learned from Todd. Each one of these is two sides. So that's 154,000 pieces of business that were available to us in 2022. Okay, that means there's. I also took top 5 teams sides 2022. Lindahl, we know the guy, right? He had 2,300 sides. Minnesota Real Estate, 1,700. Pemberton Homes, 770. Kirby and Christina, 695. And Pro Team, 500. What does this add up to? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000. 6,000 sides, that's it. Out of 177,000 sides was their opportunity for us. Same thing's going to apply this year. We went down in 2023 to the lowest levels, went back up, according to Lawrence Kuhn, another 14 to 16%. So we're going to be back here. How many do you need? This is your goal. You only need 30. Plan it that way. There's an abundance. Next slide. All right. This is the actual business model that I use, and I love it because it's Keller Williams. Love it because it's MREA based. I love it even more because it's free. Now it's on YouTube. You look at 300 with Matt Sutter, and it's a 5-hour on YouTube. You can set it where you speed up the play. if you're, I'm an old guy, so about the most I can handle is 1.2. Everybody else, yeah, the young folks know that 1.5, 1.7 is probably where it's at. Listen to this. The time, put it on in your car, because what this is going to do is going to give you the template. It's going to give you the formula. It's going to break down the business model for you to go from 0 to 300. That's my goal. My goal is actually higher than that by the time we get there. But my first benchmark is how to get from 0 to 300. And if you look, you saw what my plan is. So it's a family business. We've just recently hired a marketing assistant and operations assistant because we're going to leverage according to what's in there. We hired this person using career visioning. Rachel can attest to that. Why? Because it's already there, all in here. So 0 to 300, look at this. It could be, your goal could be 100. Doesn't matter. It helps you know when to scale. My problem is the patience. I don't have the patience. I have learned from this to have patience because growth and stability can't happen in the same space. It's physically impossible. So you have to stabilize, nurturing your, cleaning up your database, getting your stuff in order, and then grow. Stabilize, grow. This is the tool that I use continuously. Watch this probably 12, 13 times. And so I'm suggesting, recommending that you take the time to listen to it as well. It's 5 hours. If you speed it up, it's 3.5. Either that or you find out who died in Game of Thrones. That's what I've got.
Thank you, Isaac. Awesome. And Isaac sits right over there if you don't know, if you have questions. Before what? We're at time. I'm sure people are getting hungry. Really quick, it sounds like there was a nationwide outage for Supra this morning, which is fun. So double check your apps. Make sure you don't have like a red X in the bottom corner. If you do, I think you just need to go to the App Store and update, take the update from and reinstall it. But I was watching some feeds blowing up this morning of people not being able to get into houses. So do that before you go to a showing. All right, Mark's got lunch for us in the back. So, and then stick around for Paul Miller afterwards. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.